So here comes the holidays. I think
Are you ready?
Celebrate and I'm ready to go. You celebrate Hanukkah, right?
I do celebrate Hanukkah, and you celebrate Christmas?
That's correct. That's correct. We're all celebrating something, though, right? And
we are.
Usually, people like to celebrate food. There's definitely ways you can we like to call it Pritikinized recipes here, whether it be a traditional family recipe or something that you just want to tweak and make it even healthier than it is already. There's lots of little kind of variations you can do. Just changing the cooking technique, changing some of the ingredients in there, whether you're using low-fat version of a regular fat-free, whatever it may be. We were talking about eggnog earlier. People love eggnog, right? Like the holidays, people like go crazy for this stuff. And if you realize how much sugar and fat was in one little
sugar, fat, cream,
shot
milk.
of eggnog, yeah,
right.
It's a little absurd.
It's about a heart attack waiting to happen now, isn't it?
It's a heart attack in a glass.
With a zinger of alcohol in there.
There you go.
That's the cherry on top for the heart attack.
Exactly. Let's talk about something like traditional eggnog. And just most people probably not going to make their own. And if you are, we can talk about how to make it healthy.
Right. So you wanted to make it, and I wanted to buy it.
Well, that's it. Let's talk about that.
So there's this brand that's called Bolthouse Farms. They make a lot of salad dressings, and I didn't realize it, but they actually make an eggnog. So I was just kind of checking it out because I like that brand in general. It's definitely not 100% Pritikin, but sometimes when you need a little hack, it's a good idea in a pinch. And they make an eggnog. It uses low-fat milk. It doesn't use regular milk. It doesn't use cream. They actually stick in a little bit of carrot juice in there, which I thought was interesting. And instead of using sugar, they'll use a maple syrup. So it's a little bit more of a natural sweetener in there, and they don't use a ton of it. So that's my rec for eggnog if you want a healthier version.
And it was like the healthiest version we had found for sure. I mean, I was looking up some at the same time to try to find, because I usually do make my own. I know people probably aren't going to go through the trouble to do that, because most people, when they have eggnog, it's like, okay, I had that little shot. I think
it's thick.
I think I'm satisfied now. But some people love it, and they'll just drink all month long, and then maybe even into January, who knows? But anyway, if you're going to make it, don't make it with cream. If you, obviously to get the richness, you are going to require to use some egg yolk into there, which is something we usually don't use. So if you are going to incorporate egg yolks, just keep it very minimal. Most recipes might call for like 6 yolks for like about a quart of milk. If you're going to do that, first off, don't use cream, don't use half and half, don't even use whole milk. At least use like, skim milk or 1%, right?
Yeah.
And that way, at least the 1%, you're certainly much healthier than using cream or half and half.
Do you think you could cut the yolks with the whites and do a little bit of yolk and then the rest white? Will that work?
The whole flavor is like, it's almost like it's turning it richer, right? By putting the yolk, that's like kind of the purpose. It's like French vanilla ice cream. It becomes richer and like darker in color because you're putting the yolks in there. And the yolks are what's going to give it that richer kind of component. Right. It's really there only to kind of add the richer flavor that the yolks kind of contribute, but you have to temper them in there. It can be quite, difficult for anyone who doesn't know. They don't know what tempering means or how to do it right. And then, basically all that means is you whisk up a couple egg yolks just by themselves, and you could try putting the whole white in there, but it may scramble, and that's usually the issue. But you put a little bit of the warm milk into the actual yolk slowly to kind of warm that up slowly. Then you put that all back into the pot slowly. That's what tempering essentially is in a nutshell.
Sounds complicated.
It's a little tricky. So just go with carrots. They buy the Bolthouse Farm.
But one of the things that we want to touch on is why do we want to be careful of what's in the eggnog, right? We got the cream, like you said, and cream is basically saturated fat, right? So when we have too much saturated fat in our diet, what happens? We clog up our arteries and we get some plaque going on. Increases our risk of cardiovascular disease. So what's the solution? We just go to the low fat or the fat free, right? And the other thing is there's a ton of sugar in eggnog. Anytime when I was looking up any of the brands of eggnog that you would get at the grocery store, the first ingredient was cream and the second ingredient is sugar. So the cream increases the saturated fat, cholesterol, and then the sugar is very processed and refined, and it can increase inflammation in our bodies, right? And any excess sugar that we have in terms of calories, it actually turns into fat. So a lot of these processed sugars that we're consuming, whether it's from eggnog or from any of these packaged foods that we're eating, the cookies and all of that during the holidays, is it really can impact our triglycerides as well. We think of triglycerides associated with fat, but basically what happens when you increase your concentrated sweets in your diet, all of that ends up turning into fat in excess. So one of the things we got to really think about is sugar also impacts our risk of cardiovascular disease, not only diabetes, which we already know. We got to be really careful with that sugar. If we have any sort of type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance.
If you like this short clip and you want to watch another one, click here. If you want to watch a full episode, click here.